Meantime, President Biden still pushing for ceasefires in Gaza and Lebanon before he leaves office. He's meeting right now with Israel's President Isaac Herzog in the Oval Office to discuss the Middle East conflict. But with President-elect Trump set to take control of the White House in 69 days, there are questions about just how much Biden can accomplish at this point. So let's bring in NewsNation's Kellie Meyer, who was live outside of the White House. Kellie, what are these two leaders discussing?
Yeah, and a White House official telling NewsNation, Nichole, that Isaac Herzog, the Israeli president, was here in Washington, D.C. for an event and asked for this meeting with President Joe Biden. They say to thank him for his strong support of Israel. Now, foreign policy is one of the few areas where President Biden still has some power in these final few months, and it's something that the White House tells us he is focused on in his final few months and has been really over the last year. He wants to bring the war in Gaza and now the conflict in Lebanon to an end and American hostages home. So we see there just a short time ago, really moments ago, President Biden meeting there with Israeli President Isaac Herzog inside the Oval Office. Herzog brought Biden a gift, an artifact from the foot of Temple Mount in Jerusalem. It had the word Joseph on it. And the meeting comes as Israel faces a deadline put in place by President Biden. He warned almost a month ago that Israel must significantly increase the amount of aid reaching Gaza's civilian population within 30 days, or it would face restrictions on American military support. That, though, could be met with some criticism from staunch Israel allies. Likely will say that the U.S. would be abandoning their ally at a crucial time in the war. But UN humanitarian agencies have warned that aid is far from increasing and that even less food is reaching Palestinian civilians in Gaza. Israel's new foreign minister said he was confident that Israel would reach understanding with our American friends, he said, and that issue would be solved. Here's more from inside that meeting moments ago. Take a listen.
First and foremost, we have to get the hostages back home.
I agree.
And it all starts in Tehran. It all starts in the Empire of Evil, where in Tehran, with its proxies, they're doing whatever they can to derail stability and security and peace, calling for the annihilation of the State of Israel and seeking nuclear weapons. And Mr. President, this has to be a major objective all throughout your term and the next term of the next president.
Now, the last time that President Biden met with Israeli President Herzog was about a year ago when Biden was in Israel following the October 7th attack. And then the last time that Biden has spoken with Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, was just after Yahya Sinwar was killed. That was the October 7th mastermind, that Hamas leader that was killed back in October. So it was October 17th that President Biden last spoke to Netanyahu.
All right, so we just heard President Herzog allude to it a bit, but how involved is President-elect Donald Trump already?
Well, quite a bit. We know that Netanyahu was among the first or even the first world leader to congratulate President-elect Trump after he won his victory on Tuesday, or the early morning hours on Wednesday, rather. And then we know that those two have spoken a few times so far. Netanyahu actually confirming that they have spoken 3 times since President-elect Trump's win. Axios also reporting that Netanyahu sent one of his right-hand men to meet with President-elect Trump in person at Mar-a-Lago. We know that President-elect Trump has previously called on Netanyahu to end the war in Gaza, but we don't know exactly what was in those 3 phone calls that Netanyahu alluded to. But we do know that this will be a focus for President-elect Trump, and Netanyahu is happy to see, it seems, President-elect Trump coming into the Oval Office. Nichole.
All right, Kellie Meyer live for us there in Washington. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.